Good morning all. Welcome to Castor Hanglands for the traditional first week of June. Celebration of the arrival of the summer orchids, the Dactylorhizas. I'll be truthful with you, I came here about 10 days ago because I wanted to see where the orchids were progressing to so I could work out the best day to come back with the camera. It was an interesting visit, I will say no more than that. We'll talk about it a little bit more on the way out, but I figured around about now is about the right time, I think, to get the best out of the site. So it'll be the traditional common spotted, early marsh, southern marsh, and God knows what as a result of them all getting it on together, the hybrids. We'll see if we can make sense of it and see what's going on. I saw this one on the way out when I came along 10 days ago. Spent some time trying to make sense of it. The markings on the flower, definitely early marsh orchid. They're even reflexed slightly as per an early marsh orchid flower, but those markings are absolutely spot on. And it's got spotted leaves, so it's a Kernerorum, of which there are many on this site in my opinion. But I think that's about as classic a Kernerorum as you're going to get. Early marsh orchid cross common spotted orchid. Welcome to Castor Hanglands 2024, the bog. And it gets worse. Common spotted orchid. Some might say it's got a hint of something else, but I'll stick with common spotted orchid on that one. Very loopy, loop within a loop within a loop on the flowers. Spotted leaves and a very distinct hollow stem. There is a marsh orchid in here and there's common spotted in here. So again, it's got to be a Kernerorum. Can't be anything else. Nicely marked common spotted. Quite heavily reflexed flowers on this one. Common spotted stem, common spotted leaves. I'll leave it as common spotted, but might have been some distant early marsh orchid influence, but we'll call it common spotted. Make your own mind up really. Another nicely marked common spotted orchid. Common spotted densiflora. Just made that up. Very densely flowered. Common spotted orchid, very unusual. Packed in tight. I was going to say that's a nice larger than average for the site at the moment. Common spotted orchid, but I actually think It could be, although I wouldn't have said so by the markings alone, a Kernerorum hybrid. Why? Because it's got a hollow stem, spotted leaves, and a hollow stem. So there's a marsh orchid in there somewhere. So I think it is likely to be a hybrid, but in every other respect, it looks like a common spotted orchid. And they can have hollow stems, rarely when they're standing in wet ground, which it is. Could just be a hollow stemmed common spotted orchid, but I think it's a hybrid. It's a lovely set of markings. Pink, strawberry coloured, common spotted orchid. Very good. Early marsh orchid, still hanging on. Make the most of this one. You won't be seeing too many of these today. Nice boldly marked common spotted. It's a very nice one. Probably one of the best marked common spotted so far. I was actually taken by the leaves on this one when I approached it. Very boldly marked. Like quite a nice tall common spotted, but quite a heavy reflexing in the flowers. Like most of the orchids on this site, there are reasonably evidential loop markings or loops within loops on the flower. The main thing for me though is the stems. I tend to go for these now. That's very, very hollow, very springy, which means there is a marsh orchid in here. So that's going to be an early marsh orchid, cross common spotted orchid, another one, another hybrid. Again, another nicely marked common spotted. Sorry about the wind, but that's another nice one. I think there's a pigmentation competition going on in this field. Some very lushly marked, is that a word? Lushly marked common spotted orchids. Nicely marked, another dense flower head. I think a few years ago I'd be screaming hybrid for that one, but it's a common spotted, full on 100%, no doubt about it. More classic loop markings on the flower, but 100% and more. Common spotted orchid. leaves, stem, flowers, all tick the box. Standing proud, there is the odd common spotted here that runs to nearly 2 feet tall, which is good to see. They all used to be like this at one point. Why they are more stunted now than they were 4 or 5 years ago, I don't know. But like I say, you get the odd good one. Stature-wise, that is. Keep vainly looking for a southern marsh orchid without any success, but I keep seeing these richly coloured common spotted from a distance and thinking that could be it, but they're not, or it isn't. Lovely markings on that one. Right, let's head on up to the upper field. I will see you when I get to the other side. When I came up here 10 days ago and walked across this upper field, I mean, for those that know Castor Hanglands, you'll know that this is the early marsh field. 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 150, possibly even 200 early marsh orchids in this field. Absolutely awash with them. Last year there was about half a dozen because we had a wet spring and I think they just drowned. So I was quite keen this year to come down and have a look to see if they've recovered, fully expecting that they will have recovered. But it's even worse. When I came up here 10 days ago, as I say, I walked through this field and I am not kidding you, I didn't find one, not just not one early marsh orchid, I didn't find one orchid full stop. Now 10 days is a long time at this time of year for the development of our particularly summer orchids. I mean, the early marshes are unlikely to just pop up in the last 10 days. So I'm hoping when we have a roam around this area we'll at least find something, because a big fat zero 10 days ago was a very, very depressing sight. So let's go and have a look with a lot of fingers crossed. I mean, the ground underfoot now is a lot drier than it was 10 days ago. But it still gives the impression it's been underwater. I think everything's been drowned again. It's very weird because I wouldn't have said we'd had a particularly wet spring. I'm probably wrong, but certainly the western side of the country's had it worse than we have over here. I would not have expected things to have been sitting or standing in 2 or 3 inches of water, but I get the impression if I'd have come down here a few weeks ago this would have been underwater, and that's why there's no orchids here. But it's a shocker really, because like I say, 150 at least early marsh orchid were here 2 years ago. For them to be almost, well I say almost, completely wiped out is very sad. I hope they're still lurking underground and will make a return, but that return is not this year. Definitely not this year. And last year, even though there were no early marsh orchids, there were common spotteds. And there ain't no common spotteds here either. Absolutely nothing. At least the cuckoo's out. It's one or two of these things. If anybody knows what these are, do drop us a line. Post a comment under the video, because I'm intrigued. Does imply something's going on here? They know something is wrong maybe. What are these things? As I say, if you know what they are, do enlighten me, because it kind of does suggest something's going on here. Something's being measured. Cheating a little bit here as we've come off the main field to the path at the side, but at least I can see an orchid. There is life in the field. A little tiddler of a common spotted orchid, standing defiantly. Right, let's head back. I missed a few areas on the way in. I'd like to find a southern marsh orchid. I don't think I'm going to find one. You'd think with all this moisture, in inverted commas, that the southern marsh orchids might make an appearance. There's never more than half a dozen here on a good spring, summer. But yeah, I thought there might be one or two today, and there isn't. And a white common spotted orchid is always a goal here. Not seen one of these at Castor for a long time. You never know. Another of those fake Kernerorum hybrids. Nice looping on the flower, but it's a common spotted orchid. Nothing going on in the stem or the leaves to suggest anything but a common spotted. There you go, Castor Hanglands 2024. I think I said this last year. I'm always critical of Castor Hanglands because I remember what it used to be like, and it ain't like that anymore for one reason or another. But you know, if I'd have seen that showing at another site, I'd have been raving about it. So it's still a cracking site. Good collection of common spotted orchids, and there were good numbers there today. Not the stout regal 3-footers that we used to have here. We haven't had those for a long time, but there's good numbers there still. So despite the inclement weather they seem to have had here at Castor, they've done okay. Early Marsh, they haven't come back from last year. Looks like they took another thrashing in that top field. So fingers crossed they'll be back next year, but didn't look good. Didn't look good for any orchids down on that top field, which is a blow. No southern marsh either, but that's not unusual here. So, but there you go. I won't be coming back here this year. That's Castor. Some of them are going over actually, some of them are well over. Some of them haven't even opened yet, so a right mixed bag. Probably still good for a couple of weeks if you want to come down. But that's it for me. Where next? I'm out tomorrow somewhere. I'll have to look at my diary, but for sure, yeah, I'm out somewhere different to this. And thanks for coming along on this one. Thanks for keeping me company, and I will once again see you very soon.